in Cleveland. Sea of White reflects GOP's math problem. By Bill Barrow, The Associated Press. After Mitt Romney lost the 2012 presidential election, Republican Party heavyweights uniformly agreed that white voters alone do not hold the keys to winning the White House. Yet in 2016, another overwhelmingly white gathering of Republican convention delegates, the makeup clear on television images or a walk through the Quicken Loans Arena floor, has nominated an all-white male ticket, businessman Donald Trump and Indiana Gov. Mike Pence. Trump leaned almost exclusively on white voters to win the nomination and, in the process, alienated swaths of minorities with his push for a border wall to stop illegal immigration, calls for a deportation force and proposals to ban non-citizen Muslims from entering the country. "He offended so many people," said Texas GOP delegate Adriana Boyd, who is Latina. "I think he needs to apologize and he hasn't." At the ballot box, simple math is at play as the country becomes less white with each presidential cycle. The more Trump struggles with non-whites, the more pressure there is for him to reach levels of white support no candidate has managed since Ronald Reagan's 1984 landslide. Pence may shore up support among white conservatives, particularly evangelical Christians wary of Trump, but Trump's running mate may not easily connect with non-white voters, and many of the elected Republicans who could play that role aren't Trump allies. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, the child of Indian immigrants, skipped the convention. While Trump primary rival and Florida Senator Marco Rubio, the son of Cuban immigrants, is tepidly backing Trump, as is New Mexico Gov. Susana Martinez, the first Latina to lead an American state. But they aren't addressing the Cleveland gathering from the podium, and both make clear their reservations about Trump. In previous Republican conventions, delegate bodies were overwhelmingly white, but the rostrum was filled with prominent GOP minorities, like Haley and Rubio and former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Meanwhile, the message from the Cleveland convention has at times directly conflicted with calls from GOP leaders, like House Speaker Paul Ryan, for white Americans to acknowledge the challenges and fears Black Americans face, including in their dealings with police. Even minority speakers reinforced Trump's tough law and order message, putting them at odds with what many Black Americans think about race relations and police practices. Iowa Representative Steve King turned heads with a television appearance during which he suggested minorities haven't contributed to building Western civilization. Even Ryan, with his calls for a national dialogue on race, garnered negative attention after widespread social media distribution of a picture of him with a nearly all-white class of House GOP interns. Romney in 2012 won about 6 out of 10 whites and still trailed President Barack Obama nationally by almost 5 million votes. Romney's share of whites was roughly identical to what George H.W. Bush won 24 years earlier. But in a much whiter country, Bush won 41 states and captured 426 electoral votes, easily clearing the 270 required to win. Romney won 24 states and 206 electoral votes. Trump insists he'll drive up white turnout and his share of the white vote, while improving GOP performance among non-whites, thus flipping diverse states like Florida and Colorado and whiter Democratic-leaning states in the Midwest. At a convention breakfast, Republican Chairman Reince Priebus suggested Trump isn't doing as poorly with minorities as media portray. But Priebus confessed he had long-term worries even about GOP-leaning states like Arizona and Georgia, and said you cannot ignore the growing influence of minority voters. The same conclusion prevails among many Republican delegates, regardless of race and ethnicity. Michael Barnett, who is black and leads Florida's Palm Beach County GOP, said Republicans must reach out to those who we historically have not been accustomed to talking to. From Alabama, white state senator Cam Ward said that the effort must involve two-way conversations. We must not only explain our principles, Ward said, but we also must be willing to listen to their concerns. Associated Press writers Kim Chandler in Montgomery, Alabama, Brendan Farrington in Tallahassee, Florida, Julie Pace in Cleveland, and Will Wizard in Austin, Texas, contributed to this report. Follow Arrow on Twitter at https://twitter